Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Juanita Rogers with Living in the Word Ministries. Hey, I wanted to get on here this evening. I think the last time I got on here, I talked about wanting to do a little series on the dangers of wealth. And so I come to you on this evening wanting to talk about a scripture that I had been noticing, I have read before, and I've heard preachers expound on it, and just other people talk about it. I had, when I would read it or look at it, I thought it meant well. It was for the, it was a good thing. And the scripture that I'm talking about to this evening is Proverbs 19. It talks about Proverbs 19:4. I would like to read to you. It says, "The wealth attracts friends as honey draws flies, but poor people are avoided like a plague." I just had a different onlook. I really hadn't really sat down and studied this scripture. I just kind of glanced at it. I read it, and I just took it as, that's, good. People are, attracted to those who have wealth. I'm thinking in the mindset that they're looking on to people who have wealth because they want wealth. And they want to hang around someone who has it in their possession to learn how to get it. And so I won't say that's good or bad, but that's kind of how I looked at that scripture. But many times it has popped out to me. Many times I kept glancing at it, and I noticed as I felt led to do the dangers of wealth. As I started to study this scripture and get some insight on what this scripture was really saying, I was taken by it. I was like, oh wow. As I sat down and listened to, read what other commentators had to say about it, and the commentators were quite consistent, even different commentators, or just going online to do some studies and some research on it. And pretty much what this scripture was talking about, far as wealth attract friends as honey draws flies, is that wealthy people tend to attract fair-weathered friends, people who are looking to get something from you, a financial gift. And so this really kind of hit me. I was like, wow. I never thought about it in that light. And, and I think the reason I kind of thought that it was in a positive light, mainly because the way people kind of talked about it, that it was a good thing. But taking a look at this and really setting down and studying it and really looking at the context and just kind of really getting it in there, it's like, wow, the wealthy needs discernment. I don't know if you watched my video on suicide, where I talked about people who are in the limelight, who are famous, that may have money or wealth. You need to really do an assessment of your circle, of the people who are around you, and really ask God, are they from his heart? Are they really for you? Or are they in your circle to get what they can get from you financially, to get their needs met? They know you got money, they want to borrow from you. And not even borrow, because I think that's in some part has some integrity. If people borrow from you and they pay you back when they say they're going to pay you back, hey, they may have fell on tough times. But, pay attention to that. When they're doing well, they're not asking you for money and they just happy. Pay attention to your circle. People who are always asking, never borrowing, never returning your money's always in the asking mode, you should really, really check that, because in relationships, it really is give and take. And like I said, God balanced the scales. He doesn't leave unbalanced in his scales, even in friendship. He balanced the scales. Not to say that it's tit for tat, because what you bring to the table, the other person may not bring to the table, but what they bring to the table, it pretty much, if it's something that's from God and it's a relationship from his heart, you tend to balance the scales. They may not have a lot of money, but what they have, they do share with you. And they're not in it for your money. They're not. If that person got a hustle on the side and they working their stuff, they may ask you to loan them a few dollars, but they give it back to you when they say they're going to give it back to you. And not always just asking. You probably want to put a check by that. It's like, hey, but you need wisdom. And this is the thing that really struck me, because, and I felt it kind of, I felt my heart kind of pull towards, I was like, wow, those that may have some things going on for them financially, God has blessed financially. He's blessed you with land. He's blessed you with houses. You're a good steward. You're diligent in your affairs, your businesses. Whatever God has put in your hands, you have multiplied it. He has done it through you, and you're acknowledging him every step of the way, and he's giving you insight in what to do far as your finances and how to sow and how to invest and how to be a blessing. But even in that, you need wisdom. You need to be led by the Spirit of God. You need to ask God, okay, God, who would you have me to be a blessing to? And I've talked about this in previous videos that I've uploaded, even dealing with the church. You have to be careful with ministries, because people, some people have watchdogs in the ministry. People are watching your giving records. And if you're giving on a large scale and you're supporting their ministries, they'll set people up around you to how can I say it? To pull you in to their inner circle. But you want to be careful with that, because you don't want people to build relationships with you off of what you have. Because it's just like what these commentators have said, it's fair weather friends. They're having special events for large givers. What about the small givers who are not able? They give out of what God has given them. It may not be major or big, but it's from what God has given them, out of the necessity, out of what God has blessed them with. And so you want to be careful with that, because you have people in ministry that watch your giving records, and and some people are grateful for those who will support them, that really take their message serious, and give it into their ministry bountifully. But you have to be careful with that on both ends, that you're not engendering people to get into your circle because of their financial status, or you have them in leadership position because they're grandiose givers. And the scripture talks about even picking leaders, that they should have character. They should have a good reputation out in the community. People speak well of them. They take care of their families. They're taking care of their household. Their household is in order. These are men who are that fear God. They have character. They have integrity. So you don't want nobody to pull you in because of what you give. That's questionable. And you want to stay away from that. And so I wanted to get on here real quick. And it's talking about the dangers of wealth. This is part of the dangers of wealth. You're getting people in your circle who really don't give a care about who you are. It's just about what you bring financially. And that's a dangerous place. And especially if God has blessed you with wealth, don't you know his heart is to bless you with people that love you for you? Because just the same way as you can have wealth today, tomorrow it can be gone. And it talks about this, but the poor people are avoided like a plague. You know, be careful of people with these preferential treatments because the Bible speaks against it. And the Bible talks to us about how we should treat the poor. You know, you have people who want to be seen a certain way, so they get in the circle of the wealthy. They may appear like they have things, but they really don't. And that's okay. You know, because if God has not blessed you on that level, he has not blessed you on that level. And if people are going to receive you, they're going to receive you whether you have or not. But that's what he was talking about, the fair weather friends. That class is pretty much a classist mentality. You can relate it to that. You can put it in that same context, in that same circle. But people of God, I just want you to be on alert, to be discerning. You know, it's one of the dangers of wealth. You attract people who are there for what you can give them. Yeah. Those who can, you know, you can do a favor for. Those who you can give a financial gift. And some of these people creep into the church too. They always asking for money. Don't get me wrong. There are people that fall on hard times. And you know, some churches will give to you if you have been a tither. And I say I'm not totally in agreement with that either, because if you need it, you need it. Whether you're off the street or, you know, if you need a meal or you're hungry, you know, what is it for you to give $10 from your church budget to help somebody go have a Burger King? But I wanted to get on here to say that to you. You know, we want to. It's nothing like having a loyal friend. Somebody who's with you through the thick and thin, through the storms and the rain. And you got to be careful in how you treat people too. You know, somebody who's there for you, who's going to be truthful with you, regardless of what you have. Somebody's going to rebuke and correct you in love, regardless of what you have. People tend to shrink back and kind of withhold because they kind of intimidated by people who have wealth, because they take the position on that, well, it takes a lot of knowledge and wisdom to get it. And so they become intimidated because probably what you know. You're probably well learned, you're well versed in certain things and dealing with finance and dealing with other people in high places if you hang around a circle of influencers. And so people tend to shrink back or hold back and not telling you the truth about yourself if you're slacking in your character. Because just because you have wealth doesn't mean you have character. Doesn't mean you have integrity. Let's be real. When we look at our world today, we see a lot of people who have monies that really could care less about society, could care less about their community, could care less about the poor. They could care less about a lot of things. They're just about themselves. And just because you have money doesn't make you happy. And so I wanted to get on here and say that. I wanted to help you just in being sensitive and in your prayers, God, send me good friends that will love me, whether I have or not. And even for the poor, because people shun the poor because they don't have the power, they don't have the influence, they don't have the income or the monies that flow like that to take care of certain needs or basic things. And so the Bible says even your own family members will shun you. They don't want to have anything to do with you because they know they see you coming. It's like you're going to want a handout. You need something. But what does the Bible tells us to do with those people? If we look at the scriptures in, I think it's, I wrote it down. In Deuteronomy, it talks about Deuteronomy 16, 7 through 8. He said, if among you one of your brothers should become poor in any of your towns within your land that the Lord your God is giving you, you shall not harden your heart or shut your hands against your poor brother, but you shall open your hand to him, lend him sufficient for his need, whatever it may be. The same prohibition against discriminating against poverty is seen in the New Testament as well in James 2, 1 through 9. In James, it talks about, we giving preferential treatment to those who are politicians or who are wealthy. And they probably do you wrong. They're not pleading for your cause, but you give them the best seat. And you say to the poor man, you sit down here at my feet. And God condemns that. It is not his heart, nor is his spirit. It's evil. And so that is the dangers of wealth. Sometimes we tend to give preferential treatment to those who have money. And sometimes we even tend to withhold the gospel from those who have money because we want what they have. And so we try to do it on a slick and a slide, but God sees you. He sees your heart, he sees your motive. And he does not honor that type of intention or motive. It does not glorify him in any such way. So I just wanted to get on here and share that with you. It may not mean much, but it really did get my attention. And I was like, wow, I wanted to share it on YouTube because I did say I was going to start a little series on the dangers of wealth. And we're going to continue this on throughout the month of August. I kind of was not on Facebook for a little while. I had uploaded some videos that I had previously recorded, some videos I hadn't put on YouTube. And so you may see some of those things, but I did say I was going to do a little series on the dangers of wealth, and I wanted to keep my word. And so on tonight, as the day draw to a close, I wanted to share that little word with you on tonight. Those who have the high ranks and God has blessed immensely in the finances and land and investments, just bless people, but just to continue to make you sensitive to those who around you that may not have it, and to be careful who you allow in your circle who are just fair weathered friends. They're there for the ride, and soon as you're not able to do what you used to do or could do, they're gone. So word from the scripture, just wanted to share that with you, to be alert, to be alarmed, to be discerning, to be prayerful, and to be led by the Spirit of God. Y'all have a wonderful night, blessed evening, and I'll see you again later on. So please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you feel like this is a place that God has led you to. If not, you think it could be a blessing to someone else, I pray that you will share this video or my videos or my page with someone else. Thank you for coming to visit. Come again as God leads. Take care and have a good evening. A good night, I should say.